Now welcome to another Thor's Lightning Response video, where I simply take a question from the comments and, well, I answer it as concisely as I can. And to get right to it this time, the question comes to us from Tyler Prather, who asked, "Hey Thor, so what order do you think is best to watch the movies? I've always struggled to figure out if the original trilogy first, then the prequels, or chronological order are better." Okay, so first of all, and for the record, George Lucas himself answered this question a while back and said the best or intended place to start, or best way to view them, is to start with episode 1 and then work your way up to 6. That there is a reason why they are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That being, it's the order the story takes place in and the order you should watch them in. And I mean, fair enough, it's his story, so yeah, he can certainly weigh in on the best or intended way to watch his movies. Now that said, if you're a hardcore Star Wars fan who has seen all the films a million times each or whatever it is, well, I honestly don't know that it really matters all that much what order you view them in. I mean, a few years back I took someone's recommendation and watched 4 and 5 first, then went back and watched the prequels as a sort of flashback, and then watched 6, and I was like, well, I guess that was a slightly different experience. But the problem is I know the movies so well that it just didn't really matter all that much to me one way or the other. Hell, as a kid, I'd sometimes watch the films, the original trilogy films, in random order based off which one I just felt like watching, which oftentimes turned out to be watching Return of the Jedi again. However, if you're brand new to Star Wars, and I mean so new that you know virtually nothing about it at all, including any potential twist that may just so happen in the original trilogy, and I'm not even going to say what it is just in case even one person who doesn't know what I'm talking about right now watches this video for a good viewing order. Anyway, if you know nothing at all about Star Wars or just the absolute basics, like you've heard the word Jedi before, you know what a lightsaber looks like, and you could pick Darth Vader out of a lineup, I would actually have to then disagree with George Lucas and say the best way to experience Star Wars for the very first time is the way many of us experienced it for the first time. That being starting with episode 4, starting with the very first film, the one that started it all, and then watching 5 and 6 before then going back and watching the prequels. I personally just think that works the best or feels right somehow, that again it is the better experience overall. Though, of course, that is coming from the perspective of someone who had the original trilogy basically ingrained in their brain long before the prequels ever came out, and can't really process what it would be like watching those first, watching the prequels first, or before seeing the original trilogy. And for me, part of what was awesome about the prequels was seeing all these things I could only have guessed at or imagined when we only had the originals, like what the Clone Wars were exactly, or what the height of the Jedi Order looked like. And I'd love to, in the comments below, hear from those who maybe saw the prequels before the originals and tell me what that was like, what you think the viewing order should be from your point of view. And so, in summary, if you've seen all the films before, if you know the story of Star Wars already, I do agree with Lucas that just watching them in chronological order 1 through 6 is probably the best way to do it. But if you're brand new to it, watch them in release order, I would say. And not just because there's a potential certain reveal in one of the films that will be, I don't want to say ruined, but already known to you if you watch the prequels first, but because I do think it just works better to experience them the way they were initially released. Well, that's all I got for you this time. Now it's your turn to tell me what order you think the first 6 Star Wars films should be watched in, or tell me what it was like, assuming this is you, to watch the prequels first and then the original trilogy. Or by all means, ask me a question for a future lightning response video by starting your comment off with something like, "Hey Thor." Whatever you decide to do, leave your comments below and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.